minimize counterparty risk, maximize optionality, right? These are all things that happen, right? And so I think that the Bitcoin, as it spreads, it will introduce rationality. It will infect individuals, then it infects families, then it infects corporations. Like a corporation that adopted Bitcoin as capital asset, at the end of every quarter, they would say, "How much of this cash do we want to dividend out and pay 30 or 40% tax on? How much of this cash do we want to use to buy our equity back? And do we have too much equity outstanding? How much of this cash do we want to use to buy small, mid-sized companies and do mergers and acquisitions? And how much of this cash do we want to convert to Bitcoin?" Okay, and that's a rational set of decisions as opposed to the irrational decision, "Oh my, we just have to get rid of it because we know we're burning it if we just put it in the bank account." So I think the companies will get more rational as Bitcoin spreads. And I think countries will get more rational because they'll have more optionality. In that Bitcoin 24 model, right? We didn't just create the macro model. I mean, the truth is the macro and the Bitcoin model, they're interesting, but you know, no one's there's not nearly as much emotional attachment to a generalized global asset class. So what's really interesting is the micro models, the fact there's an individual model that says, this is what happens if you adopt the Bitcoin standard and move to move to a place with no income tax. You're a triple maxi, right? And that's a family decision that you make, right? This is what happens if you actually take a mortgage and buy Bitcoin with it, right? So that the micro model for an individual has a lot of emotional gravitas. And then there's a corporate model, a micro model for corporations. And it shows what happens if your company sweeps its cash flows into Bitcoin, and you can adjust that. And you can make assumptions about, okay, I have a company. What if I sold half my equity and bought Bitcoin with it tomorrow? Your company's worth whatever, $100 million. What if you sell $100 million of stock and bought 100 million of Bitcoin and you held the Bitcoin for 21 years? Like now you can look at that.